Welcome to Think Global Education Services. In this video today, we are going to see the passage that we had discussed in our approach to reading comprehension, where I was talking about how to map the passage. And we'll solve all the questions based on this passage, as I had promised in the previous video. If you've reached this video without watching all the question type videos and the skimming video, the speed read, what is reading comprehension, then please pause here and you should go back to those, because here I'm going to solve the questions that based on the approach and the strategies and everything that I have taught you earlier. All right. Now, if you remember this passage a bit, if you've recently seen the video where we were skimming up this passage and setting up that this paragraph says this and that, then good. If not, then here's what you should do. Instead of watching the video again, which you had seen earlier, I want you to pause the screen and just skim this entire passage once again, see what have you understood, and then let's do the questions. All right, so from this screen you can do till line 25, and I'll give you the next part of the passage in the next screen. Here you can pause again and you can read up till line 45. See, make sure that you don't pause for a lot of time. You should be able to do the entire passage in, let's say, maximum 2 minutes. Try 1 minute. Here's the next part of the passage. You can again pause the video, read this through, and then we'll do the last paragraph. Here's the last paragraph. So I want you to again read all of this. You'll have to pause the video over and over, which a good part is that on the SET, you don't have to do that. It's all on paper. Okay, so I assume that you have now read this entire passage. If you're reminded of how we discussed it earlier, the passage talks about this girl, Emma, how she lives. She's the youngest. The other daughter is not talked about in the passage too much. The mother has died. The governess is basically what what Emma and governess did, and know how their relation was, is what the passage overall talks about. Then how she got married, then what happened, how Emma felt so alone. She married Weston. Not a lot of information about Weston is given. Then in the last paragraph, it's discussed about how Emma and the father shared the relationship with each other. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the questions now. So how do we solve the question? We first predict what is the correct answer, and then we choose what is the correct answer. Okay, so before we read, let's see the first question. The main purpose of the passage. Remember, purpose question. It's general question. It doesn't have to be specific. You don't have to come up with something but that is very particular to one paragraph or one of the sentences of ABCD, which is written somewhere in the passage. No, you don't have to select that. You have to select the overall gist of the passage, what is happening in the overall passage. Okay, now the main purpose of the passage according to you was like we discussed, that Emma is one of the character and how she's living her life while governess was there versus while she got married and now Emma is alone. So that's what happened. Let's see the options. Describe a main character. So did I describe Emma? Yes, I did. And a significant change in her life. Something changed in her life? Yes, something did. So keep this option. Let's read B. Provide an overview of a family. Did we provide overview? Yes, we did. And a nearby neighbor. Did we provide overview of a nearby neighbor? No, we did not. We just said that Mr. Weston was a close neighbor, but we did not give a lot of information about it. So this part is incorrect, which means B option goes away. Next, discuss some regrettable personality flaws in a main character. It was given that Emma thinks too much of herself. She does things that she wants to, even though she listens to others. She does what she wants to. But we don't really know that she's regretting that. Yes. Also, it's only given at one paragraph that this is what she is. But overall, the passage did not say that she has so many flaws. It talks about how she's feeling, how she's sad. Okay, so although C is somewhat given somewhere, that's not the main purpose. Hence, option C also goes out. Then we look at option D. Option D says explain the relationship between a main character and her father. So did I talk about the main character? Of course I did. Did I talk about the father? I did that as well. But all of this happened only in the first few lines of the first paragraph and the last paragraph. Oh, everywhere else in the passage, this was not discussed. So, am I explaining the relationship between this as the main idea? No, I told about the main relationship, yes, but that was not the main purpose of writing the passage. It is only information. So, although D is discussed, it's not the main idea. It goes away. And we go back to the first option. Describe the main character. Yes, we did that in all the paragraphs. Something or the other about Emma is in all the paragraphs. And change in her life, that's also everywhere. Okay. All right, let's move to the next question. I think it will be a great idea if before you listen to my explanation for each question, you pause and then you answer the question yourself. Um, and then see if the explanation and your option match. Okay, let's look at second question. Which choice best summarizes the first two paragraphs of the passage? For which we'll have to move to the first two paragraphs. You can pause the video and go back to a few seconds and you'll see where are the first two paragraphs shown on the screen, like from the starting itself. You can just go to seconds one and see what is the second right now and come back over here. So let's go back to the first two paragraphs of the passage if you now have the correct answer. First two paragraphs of the passage. First, I was talking about Emma lives this way and she's all blessed and everything is good with her. Then description about how many people are there, then the mom is not there, and then the governess is there. That's all, nothing more. So until here, we know what all is being discussed, and then let's go to the question. A option. Even though a character loses a parent at an early age, is parent losing given in first two paragraphs? Yes. She's happily raised in a loving home. She's happy? Yes, she is. She's raised in a loving home? Yes, she is. So yes, keep this one. Next one. An affectionate governess helps a character to overcome the loss of her mother despite the indifference of her father. Okay, how do you know that the father was indifferent? Ask yourself in these two paragraphs. It doesn't talk about if the father has feelings or not. It's just given that father is there, two daughters are there. Father is loving the daughters, but not a lot of other details are given. So one, we can't really prove this indifference. Next, it says affectionate governess. Yes, the governess is affectionate. Helps a character to overcome the loss. Is it given that there was a loss? Yes, but is it given that she had some struggle to overcome the loss? We don't really know that. We know that governess was there. We know that the loss was also there, but she was feeling that now the loss is too much, or how do I overcome? And then the governess helped. Is it like that, or is it just that the mother wasn't there and the governess was there, so the girl never felt anything? We don't have a lot of material to prove this option. Even if we can infer it in our mind, we can assume it in our mind. We don't have lots of proof here, so it's not a very strong option. Next one. Largely as a result of father's wealth and affection, the character leads a contented life. We know that the character has contented life, but is it largely because of father's wealth and affection, or is it because maybe father is rich, but then the governess is there because the governess is helping her live a life? Yeah, it's so option C does just forget about the governess. So goes out again. We don't have the entire two paragraphs covered here. A character has a generally comfortable and fulfilling life, correct? But then she must recover from losing her mother. Once again, she's recovered. We don't know that she's not recovered yet. Yes. So she's not recovering, goes away. First part is correct, but the second part is not. Okay, so you see how options are so closely written, as if you may feel that yeah, that's the correct one, because is she living a comfortable life? Yes, she is. We want to choose D. She must recover from losing a mother. Losing a mother is given, so you would want to choose that. Yeah, losing a mother is a big thing, so yes, she must recover. But in these two paragraphs, we don't have it. We just said that she died, but what kind of feelings were was Emma having is not stated at all. So do not infer or assume anything when such questions are given. All you have to do is summarize. So no, act like a robot. Don't act like a human being, I would say, in these questions. Okay. So D goes out, C goes out, B goes out, and we're left with A. Let's move to the third question. The narrator indicates that the particular nature of Emma's upbringing resulted in her being what? So what did she actually, I would rather say, let's do this question along with fourth question. Fourth is an evidence-based question. Remember when we have to look for the lines? Now, how I tell students to solve these two questions together? Indicate question means an infer question. That means it's not clearly written, but it is indicated in a lot of places and we can prove it. Okay, that Emma's upbringing resulted in her being what? What did she become? Because of the type of upbringing she has. Instead of looking at the entire passage, where is the upbringing given, you can read these 4 lines and you will know where is the upbringing given. And that way you will solve fourth question and third questions together. So again, pause your video and check. Now let's do it together. 1 to 5. Let's see if the upbringing is given in 1 to 5, line number 1 to 5 here. So Emma was all of these blessings nearly these many years. Anything about the upbringing given here? No, it's a very general description. So A goes out. 9 to 14. Let's see. So what are we looking at? You always have to keep in mind. Her upbringing resulted in her being what? What kind of nature she has, okay? Because of the upbringing. So let's go to 9 to 14 from here. Her mother had died, then more than remembrance of her caresses, and her place had been supplied by women whose governess, for a little short of the mother's affection. Anything about Emma's nature here? No, I don't know what is her nature. What is the upbringing? What is her nature? We are not getting that point anywhere. So option B also goes out. Option C. Remember, we are looking at question number 3 and we are solving question number 4. Okay, so don't get confused because both of them are dependent question, dependent on each other type of question. I mean, this is on itself, but this one is dependent. Fourth question is dependent on third question. Let's look at C. 28 to 32. So am I talking about the description here in 28 to 32? The describing the nature here. The real evils indeed of Emma's situation were the power of having rather too much of her own, power of having rather too much her own way, and disposition to think a little too well of herself. Now this is where her nature comes. She thinks little too well of herself. These were the disadvantages which threatened alloy to her many enjoyments. So, what's her nature? Her nature, because of how she's grown up, is that she thinks she's just too good to. She's just too good for everything. You know? So she thinks everything about herself. Yes, we got some answer over here. Let's see if this kind of word is given anywhere. Despondent? Can we say that she's despondent if she thinks too much about herself? No, we cannot. Can we say she's self-satisfied? Well, she is self-satisfied. She thinks that she can be all by herself. So we can keep this. Friendless? Well, we don't have a very good clue about friendless. She doesn't want to make friend? Maybe. But she's friendless? We don't know. Maybe she has a lot of friends, but no information about it. Inconsiderate. So she's inconsiderate, which means like she doesn't really care about others. She thinks only about herself. Now it says that she thinks about herself. That is given. But when you say she thinks about herself, does that means that she doesn't think about others, or she, maybe is a negative word. She does something bad to others, like she hurts others. No, that is not given. She loves herself does not mean she hates others, right? So that's something like vice versa, which doesn't work for SAT. So even D cannot be the answer. Yes, which brings us back to B, and that's the correct answer, self-satisfied. So C is leading, option C of question number 4 is leading you to option B of question number 3. Now, let's read line 32 to 34 also, just in case there is some other option that matches with these lines. All right, let's go to these lines. So 32 to 34 here. The danger, however, was at present so unperceived that they did not by any means rank as misfortunes with her. Anything about her nature? Again, no. So that means option D also goes out, and you can stick with your correct answer, which was B for third and C for fourth. So see, that way you can do two questions together. You will save time of doing both questions and you will guarantee the correct answer. All right, now in order, because I don't want the video size to increase too much, I'm putting it on hold for this video. For more questions, there are 5 more questions to the same passage. Please refer to the next video where I'll continue this particular part.